started to think that maybe a military plane or a helicopter crashed, and that was the explosion I heard. But I still had no idea what had happened. I remember that the police and the fire department sealed off the whole area.
Oh, God. Yeah, stop sirens again, of course.
I know. Oh, man. Well,
This
it's been a
whole
while,
entire
so
thing.
it's nice that the sirens are back. Oh, no. I don't like that one.
All right.
Turn it off.
That's why that got cut out.
God. I don't
Why
like
did I
that
let
one.
you have that? I don't like that one
Oh,
either.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Trying to... Okay. But this is... So, this lady, yes, I mean, she's propped up as one of the big cornerstone pieces of it, that she's the one who is confirming that the crash, because you're kind of building the story, you need a witness to each part of it. The crash happening, people seeing UFOs, people see the first alien, put him in a net, put him in a box, bring him to the hospital, then the girls see the deformed, the oily guy, the same... I think all of them look like that. They're like veiny and oily, and they look like a grave, but they got red eyes and they got horns. They're their own thing. I would think I would like to call them like the brown dwarves or the dwarf greys.
The veiny, oily aliens, kind of like we got the greasy
veiny
Italian
dwarves.
pancakes.
They're definitely oily aliens. There's something like oily's part of their definition.
Oh man, this is
Oily
going to be
dwarf
so interesting for the tournament of aliens if they're all greased up.
Dwarf is in
them.
there. They're for sure going under dwarf. Well,
You
they've got it.
can't put dwarves
So
in the
it'd be
tournament of
the-
aliens, Russ.
It'll be the alien dwarf, the oily alien dwarfs.
Oily dwarves, yeah.
The oily
veiny
dwarf aliens.
who are also
Yeah, the
short and
Oily,
are pregnant.
veiny dwarf aliens.
Yeah.
But other than these compelling eyewitnesses, we also have this upsetting piece of evidence as well.
A few weeks after the incident, one of the soldiers who was present at the crash site, Marco Eli Shirezi, died from unknown toxic poisoning. His sister Marta is convinced he was poisoned through contact with this alien creature and has been fighting to get an independent autopsy on his body.
Porque meu irmão não tinha nada.
Bizarrely, the doctors said that an autopsy wasn't necessary and ordered the body to be buried immediately. The blood tests were made available and showed that his blood contained 8% of unknown toxic substances.
What
So
the
this
hell?
guy's poisoned, and the sister is convinced that this is the guy who was handling the beings at the crash site, and that's why he's dead, and he's got 8%
Find out
poison.
if there was a virus.
No. He got too close. You're not supposed to
man.
handle these things.
You should really be wearing gloves if you're going to be handling an alien of any kind. If you don't know, I mean, you should wear gloves anytime you shake hands with a stranger because you could get sick. I mean, there's the flu. But, yeah, if you don't know what the hell it
This
is,
is a little different. This
don't
isn't
touch it with
oil.
your bare hands.
That oil. It could be that oil.
oil
Whatever's
is
coming out.
toxic.
Maybe they're secreting something that's taking these guys out. And
Maybe
look,
people can get high off
that
of it if
is
they like
sad.
it.
This guy did die during this, and I'll note that there was also a firefighter that was also there, basically at ground zero of this event, and he died at this time in a similar way.
man.
They found the poison in his. Yeah,
Shit.
there were
What?
so many. Yeah, another.
What?
Yeah, that's two people with a strange poisoning die. There's so much stuff involved in this.
This is like an X-Files episode.
yeah,
this
that's
is really
exactly
like
what
an
I was
X-Files
thinking,
episode.
Rob. Yeah,
Virginia
it
Files.
sounds. Oh my god, yeah.
It sounds like right at this point now,
V-Files.
all of this goes down, and then Scully and Mulder show up, and they're just like, they're looking at it.
and they're
of
wearing
course,
gloves because they're smart.
They're wearing gloves because they're smart. Scully would say, this is probably just monkeys, Mulder. And Mulder would say, come on, open your eyes.
monkeys.
Come on, look
Let
at
me
what's
guess.
going on here.
Dumb.
Yeah,
Dumb.
let me guess. It's a deformed pregnant dwarf next. But there's so many witnesses and strange things that you think that has to be the end of it. There's so much stuff. The Fox Mulder's already there. That's got to be the end, right?
And that should have been the end of the so-called incident in Brazil, except that a few weeks later, another alien creature was reported in the town of Varginha, this time at the zoo. An old lady spotted a creature very similar to the one seen by the other witnesses.
What she told us is the creature had some light coming from the eyes because the place was all dark at night. But she could see the face here, a small nose, a little slit as a mouth, only because some light was coming from the eyes of the creature, no pupils. And all of a sudden, the creature was not there anymore. She went inside the place, called her husband and said, listen, We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, and then he said,
get outta here.
what did he say next?
Okay, Diane, that's fine. We're coming over.
Yeah, he's a great husband.
Yeah, it's okay, Diane. Diane's everywhere, man.
So an old lady saw a strange creature at the zoo, and this might be the one that pulls me out a little bit. I mean, it sounds like an owl, right? Like what is she doing at night? I didn't know they let you in the zoo at night. I've never been in the zoo when it's dark, I don't think.
Was she breaking into the zoo? What was she doing?
She was looking for monkeys because
there.
monkeys was the cause of this in this case.
I love how she called her husband and to say,
Use your head, brother.
All right, Diane, that's
like,
fine. We're coming over.
all right, Diane, that's fine. We're coming over. But what is she doing you're right. What is she doing in the zoo at nighttime?
She's one of those
but she is
Greenpeace
one of the
freaks trying to release all the animals.
They thought that's why it's almost just kind of tacked on at the end. We're like, you thought that was great evidence, right? We have one more. It's kind of good. There was an old lady at a zoo, and they talk to the lady that runs the zoo, and they note that several days before this sighting, that a few animals died strangely of an unexplained poisoning. So they think that one of these creatures that got out was at the zoo, and it was messing up animals' air, poisoning them, and this old lady saw it.
What?
It'd be a good place for this weird alien to hide, right? The zoo?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
That's
is
the
like,
perfect place to hide because
the
animals.
zoo is designed to keep animals in, so like it should be
it's
just
easy
as difficult.
pickings.
It should be just as difficult to get out, or it's what I mean.
It's easier to fall in than to fall out.
He shouldn't be able to get in there. He shouldn't be able to get in there.
I mean,
What is
dude,
he?
kids fall into the enclosures all the time and they get mauled by tigers, violent tigers.
So what, did he buy a ticket? He bought a ticket?
No, you don't need to buy tickets when you're an alien. You just go where you want to go.
don't know
Who's
what
going to
this guy
stop you?
does.
You're an alien with horn rows.
He's got, oh man, he just hopped the fence at nighttime and decided to go hang out in the
Well,
zoo.
And again, this isn't America, so they don't have the same like weird, security
Brazilian zoo,
kind of
in the 90s.
shit. I'm
I guess
assuming, yeah,
it's
in the 90s.
kind of like a buffet for if he's really
that's why
hungry.
he's there.
Well, now I'm hungry. Shit, let's go to the
makes
zoo.
sense. So this is 3 different sightings of this similar alien. You got the hospital, you got the believable girls who see it against the wall, and now you got Zoo Lady, and you got multiple reports of both human and animal poisonings associated with this. So how will Nick Pope debunk all of it? Well, he tries to here.
So had another alien creature hidden itself away in the zoo, or did Mrs. Klepf misidentify some other animal?
Got a lot of witnesses in this case. I don't think that people are making this up. What I do think we have to check out very carefully is the possibility that we are dealing with a series of events which have been, as it were, linked together, perhaps by people who are very keen to come to particular conclusions, and that we're dealing perhaps with nothing more exciting than a series of misidentifications and people putting perhaps quite extraordinary explanations on events which may be rather mundane.
No. You can't
just
just
all
make things mundane when they're
coincidence,
not. Like, oh yeah, more sirens.
No. This crash happens, and there's some people happen to see some aliens. People happen to have them in a hospital. Soldiers happen to die. Firemen happen to die.
Oh, they
old ladies,
misidentified
a dwarf that was deformed and
pregnant.
with and ready to pop. That's Pope's take. And I don't know. What do you think, Rob?
Honestly, I don't know. This story has so many twists and turns, and I don't know what to believe. I think something happened. I think it's pretty clear something happened, and I don't think it was monkeys. I don't think it was owls. I don't think it was any of that shit. But I don't know what it was. The thing that I like about this, story is like the description is like its own thing. Like this is like this species has obviously never come here before. This is the first time that they've come here. This is not a good first experience.
One expert says someone threw them in a ship. They couldn't drive it, and they just crashed them here.
Yeah, like they were like some cargo crew that they ended up here by accident. I don't know. I want to believe that this is true. I want to believe that this is the real deal. But the story, like I said, is so twisty and turny that I don't know what to believe, man. I don't know.
I don't know. And I got apologies if I'm being too harsh on Pope, because I do like that guy. And this is nearing its conclusion. But before they turn to we got another big baller in ufology and cow-related incidents and such. We got Linda Moulton Howe. And she's a true blue, whatever you want to call her, believer in all kinds of unbelievable topics. So I said I'd cut her out. I'm going to leave it in, just this one. Here's some Linda Moulton Howe weighing in on Varginha.
They know and have been covering up for at least 50 years that extraterrestrial biological entities are interacting with our planet, have access to backyards, to pastures, and to even bedrooms in the human abduction syndrome.
Not backyards.
Not wanting people to be aware of that because they're afraid of mass panic, I can understand up to a point. But everything in me says life teaches you, knowledge gives you strength, ignorance weakens you. I think the entire planet deserves the truth. Because whatever the extraterrestrial biological entities are doing, there has to be a reason for a variety of intrusions that have been happening in Mexico and South America in a very aggressive nature. But what is it? That's what we all need to find out.
Okay, wait. This is filler. I don't feel like that was recorded with this specific story in mind. Do y'all? I don't think that's her fault. I don't think she gets to edit these things, but that sounds like it could have been inserted into any UFO alien abduction document anywhere, no matter the subject. What do you think?
It's like, insert this clip anywhere.
Yeah. Like stock photos. Like stock photos.
There's nothing specific. She doesn't even mention the right country in it. They just crammed her in this special.
That's a good point. Who knows? It could have been recorded at any other point and then just used out of context.
That'd be a
I
challenge.
like how she said that they have access to our bedrooms and our backyards. Like,
no, they do not.
Backyards was scary.
It reminded me of that movie Dark Skies. Did you guys ever see Dark Skies?
Yeah.
No, what's that one?
It's this creepy movie where there's always a gray alien in their bedroom. Like, it's super
like
creepy.
A cuck,
Watch Dark
just
Skies.
Watching them have sex?
Yeah, kind of a cuck gray in the corner.
Fuck.
The gray in the corner cucking us, yes. And but I was just a little bit, but that was the first thing Linda Moulton Howe said. I won't throw her under the bus too much. She does actually talk about the incident after this, but that's the first thing she says, and I was like, why are they playing this? This could be for anything. Well, we're nearing the end. And we get some good clips now. This is when the narrator weighs the evidence from both sides.
On one hand, there are dozens of reliable witnesses, both civilian and military, who swear blindly that they saw alien creatures that night. There's an eyewitness who saw the crash site in flames, and there's a soldier who claims to have guarded the creature inside the hospital. On the other hand, the Brazilian military and fire department deny anything happened and that the witnesses had just misidentified dwarves.
That's all the Kansai has.
Sirens.
Okay, and thank you for saying that. I just clipped the end of that because that is a good summation of this whole episode. Play the next soundboard clip because it's got all you need to hear, and that's dwarves and sirens.
And that the witnesses had just misidentified dwarves.
There it is.
Just misidentified dwarves, siren.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything. This is a bit. That's all they had. They listed everything that we've talked about on one hand, and on the other hand, we got misidentified dwarves and sirens. Well, the experts.
Why were the dwarves at the crash site though? What are they talking? They're unrelated to this. Like, they were just at the hospital.
Yeah, they didn't. Did you really think that firemen and military grabbed a pregnant dwarf couple in a net and put them in a box and put them in the hospital? I hope not.
I mean, yeah, because I don't like to think of firemen being
and why would they be
the type to abduct
crash?
people from a crime scene or a crash scene. Yeah.
The actual story makes more sense about the U.S. military warning Brazil that someone was in a crash, and the military's there with the firefighters. They get the aliens.
It makes more sense that it's aliens.
Yeah, it does.
It makes
way
really
more
sense
does.
that it's aliens
way
in
more.
this situation.
And
it tends to be. What is the name of that thing? That concept where it's just the thing that's most likely to have happened is
Occam's
probably
razor,
what happened.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's like, come on, like just because it's something that you don't want to think that is real doesn't mean that it's not the most possible explanation.
Strange. Yeah. In this case, Occam's razor actually works in a believer's favor. The experts, though, all give their final thoughts. I'm not going to play all of them because they all kind of sound the same. But I like this last bit from the late, great Stanton Friedman. And he gives us some hope